Welcome to The Explainer. We're all about taking those really complicated topics and breaking them down into clear, compelling visual stories.
All right, let's just dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about something called cognitive decadence. Sounds pretty intense, right? We're going to walk through it step by step. First, we'll figure out what it even is. Then, we'll get into what causes it, look at the very real costs, and, most importantly, talk about a path to getting better.
Okay, first up, let's try to put a name to a feeling I'm pretty sure we've all had. You know that feeling of just being completely adrift in this chaotic sea of information we're swimming in every single day?
The source material for this explainer uses this really powerful idea, fragments of truth. And it's a perfect way to think about it. It's not that there's no truth out there. It's that we only ever seem to get these tiny, shattered pieces. And when that's all you have, trying to see the big picture, it's almost impossible.
So, have you ever just been scrolling your news feed and felt completely overwhelmed or just exhausted by the constant cycle of outrage? That feeling where you can't even tell what's real anymore? Well, listen, you are not just imagining things. There's actually a name for this condition. It's a real diagnosis for this state we find ourselves in.
And here it is, cognitive decadence. Now, what's so tricky, so insidious about this is that it's not some big, sudden collapse. No, it's more like a slow degradation, a gradual withering away of our mental energy, our critical thinking. It's this slow erosion of our ability to just think clearly, worn down bit by the insane speed and chaos of our digital lives.
So now that we have a name for it, let's dig into the diagnosis. How does this actually show up? What are the specific symptoms? And more importantly, what's causing our minds to feel so completely under pressure all the time?
Okay, so according to the research, this condition really breaks down into 5 key symptoms. You might recognize some of these. First, there's mental passivity. That's when we kind of just let the algorithms decide what we see. Then there's over-choice paralysis. So many choices you just freeze up and can't decide. Next, our thinking starts to conform to whatever our social bubble believes. After that, our emotions get hijacked by constant outrage. And the final big one, we just start to distrust everything by default.
And this right here, this is the core trade-off. It's the deal we're making a lot of the time without even realizing it. On one side, we get speed and convenience, which, hey, we all want that. But on the other side, what are we giving up? We're giving up depth. We're giving up context, and we're giving up the slow, patient work it takes to actually understand something.
And look, all of this is happening in an atmosphere that is just incredibly hard to navigate. Think about it. We've got massive global crises that demand really complex, nuanced thinking. At the same time, technology is just outpacing our ability to create ethical guardrails. We're flooded with synthetic content that blurs the line between fact and fiction. And on top of it all, we're constantly being fed these super polarized narratives that boil everything down to simple, black and white, us versus them answers.
Okay, so what happens if we just let this go on? What's the prognosis if it's left untreated? Well, the cost is incredibly high. And this right here is where we get to the real danger of cognitive decadence.
And let's be absolutely clear about the stakes here, because they're enormous. This isn't just some abstract political problem or a tech issue. The source material calls it what it is, a cognitive and a moral emergency.
And you can actually see how this breakdown of trust happens in stages, like a cascade. It starts at the top, right, with our major institutions, government, media, science. They start to lose credibility. Then, that distrust trickles down, and it starts to poison our interpersonal relationships, with friends, with neighbors. And then, the final step. It gets inside us. It starts to corrode our own internal sense of who we are and what we believe.
And really, this is the bottom line. When our shared sense of reality just dissolves, when we can't even agree on basic facts, it becomes almost impossible to form strong convictions. And if you can't do that, how can you possibly sustain a belief in a shared future? How can we build anything together?
But okay, that's the problem. And it sounds pretty bleak, I know. But this is not a hopeless diagnosis. Far from it. The source also gives us a clear, totally actionable prescription for renewal. There is a way to fight back against this.
So here it is. This is our path forward. It's a 5-step plan for renewal. Step 1, epistemic humility. That's just a fancy way of saying we need to accept that we don't know everything. Step 2, cognitive stamina.
We have to build up the mental endurance to actually wrestle with complex topics. Step 3 is crucial: media literacy. Not just consuming, but actively questioning our sources. Step 4, embracing what's called slow knowledge, choosing depth over just raw speed. And all of it, leads to the final, most important step: reimagined trust.
And this is so key to that final step of reimagining trust. The goal isn't blind faith. Nobody's asking for that. It's about building and demanding things that have earned reliability. It's about creating systems and relationships that are transparent, that are accountable, and where we all have a shared responsibility to keep them that way.
So in the end, that's what this all boils down to. The challenge here isn't to try and escape complexity. I mean, we can't. That world is gone. The real question is the one we're left with. How are we going to evolve with it? How are we going to build the inner clarity and the social trust that we absolutely need to not just survive this chaos, but to actually thrive in it?